Welcome. This is Manhood Mindset on WVGS 91.9, The Buzz.
Man, ladies and gentlemen, thank y'all so much for tuning back in. This is 91.9 The Buzz, WVGS Manhood Mindset. We are located in Statesboro, GA. I'm one of your hosts, Big Chris. I'm from Ellenwood, Georgia, and I'm thankful so much to be here with you all today. Big dog, tell them where you from, man.
Man, my name is Dale from Riverdale. And of course, I'm from Riverdale, Georgia, man. I'm so happy to be here with y'all tonight. We're going to turn this thing up and help some people.
Most definitely. So if you're new to the show, just letting you know, you are listening to Manhood Mindset. And what's the reason for Manhood Mindset? So basically, what we try to do is have intentional conversations about mental health and about anything that would improve our mental health in our community, and initiated through initiative to help Black men talk about their issues across our nation. But this show, we know for a fact that everyone can get help. So just because we're targeting a specific audience doesn't mean we're just specifically just staying in that realm. This is for everybody. If you can get some help, this is definitely for you. So, but Manhood Mindset, we try to get those conversations out. We try to get help ourselves, and in the process of helping ourselves, we want to share that information and help as many people as humanly possible. So we've been doing the show for a couple of years now, and a lot of people like the show. A lot of people are getting help, and we are trying to do our part and making our contribution to our society, man. So hopefully a young person out there, or young or old, or wherever age you are, if you're still living, you can still learn it. So hopefully we'll be able to teach you something tonight. All right. So, but without further ado, we have some special guests in the house tonight, and I think they're going to give us one of our most phenomenal shows to this date. Ladies, do you mind introducing yourself to our audience?
Okay, well, I guess I'll go first.
Go ahead.
My name is Paulette Chavers, and I'm a native here of Statesboro, Georgia, born and raised. So I'm representing here tonight for Statesboro.
That's what's up.
I have a master's in school counseling. Okay. Went on and got my LPC. Didn't stop there. Got my MAC, that's Master's Addiction Counseling. Okay. And I'm also a national certified counselor. So that's just a little bit about me. I love my family. I love people. I love to hear what they have to say about their lives. So I'm just happy to be here.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. All right. Who else we have?
And my name is Ty Johnson, and I am from Savannah, Georgia. I've been in Statesboro for about 16 years now, so I guess it is my second home.
Most definitely.
Yeah. I am a licensed counselor as well. I got my bachelor's from Georgia Southern and my master's from South University. So I have a number of credentials, and I'm not going to go into all of them because Paulette has already named so many of them. But anyway, we're glad to be here and we're ready to help.
That's good. That's good. So first of all, thank you all for carving out a time of your day to sacrifice it to help someone else out. I know when I reached out to you, maybe a month ago, I was just letting you know the intentions behind the interview. Hopefully we have a conversation that will help somebody out who's looking for help, but not necessarily know how to obtain that type of help. And also we would like to celebrate and help market your businesses. All right. So if you are in the business of helping other people, we want to help market you all as well, because you're sacrificing by being here. And we want to make sure that people know how to reach to you so they can give back to you as well. Right. That sounds fair?
That sounds fair.
Sounds perfect.
All right. So first question of the night. Why counseling? Why?
I guess for me, when I was in college, I really didn't know what I wanted to do. I was just, having fun and, changing my major. I changed my major like 3 times. And I guess before I got my master's degree, one of my professors actually came to me and said, Paulette, maybe you should go further. And maybe you should get a degree in counseling because I think it's a part of you. So I just took her advice. I didn't know if it was going to work out, if it was going to be good. So I just took her advice and I did it. And once I did it, I loved it. I just absolutely adored it. And I just appreciate her for kind of giving me that guidance as to where I needed to go. So she helped me find my path. So the reason that I do it now is because I want to impart into our young females and males to just kind of help them to prevent some of the things that I have gone through now, have gone through, I can reach back and help them and help people who are going through their struggles today.
Definitely.
So just seeing somebody come through something is so rewarding. So that's why I do it.
That's beautiful. Beautiful.
Well, as for me, I've always been the type of person where people can be 100% authentic.
Okay.
I don't care what their title was. I don't care what church they went to. I was the one person they would always say, well, yeah, I'm singing in the choir, but I fornicated last night. And I did not judge. I did not judge. I let people be exactly who they are. I recognize that we walk around with the mask on, and it's not that we're being fake. It's just that we've learned how to socialize ourselves. But there comes a point when we have to be who we are supposed to be. And so that is what I find most rewarding. And so even though I changed my major about 5 or 6 times when I was in college, it went right back to counseling. And I absolutely adore it. I love what I do, and that's why I continue to do it.
What is difficult about it? What are some of the things that kind of make you question, not waver away from what you're doing, but kind of question, am I doing this? Am I doing the right thing?
Well, when I run into that tough client, you get them to a certain point and they're doing good. I'm like, yes, they're doing good. They come through, and then they go all the way back down to the ground. And you got to build them all the way back up. So it leads me to say, am I the best person for this client? Should I refer them out to someone else? And they never want to leave, but that makes me question it, and that makes kind of difficult when you have the fluctuation in the behaviors of the clients.
Correct.
The toughest for me would be when I'm trying to counsel someone with something that I may be struggling with, or I haven't quite gotten answers to myself, but I notice that in my helping them that I tend to help myself, and that's not always the proper way, but it works. And you can give a little bit of transparency, like, hey, I'm dealing with that too, so what we gonna do?
Right.
And that works with talking to people. They
You
want to
humanize
feel,
the situation.
yes,
Yeah.
they want to feel like, okay, there's nothing wrong with me. I just got an issue in this particular area. So that for me would be probably the hardest.
Another thing for me is when you grow an attachment for an individual.
Okay.
I mean, you're not supposed to be too attached to any type of client, but you have that client that comes in that you like them as your favorite, and you gravitate towards them, and you create that attachment. That's difficult.
Right.
It's very, very difficult, especially when you say, okay, this is not healthy. We just got to discontinue services.
Right.
So that is very difficult when you create that bond and that relationship with the client, and you have to discontinue that.
And sometimes clients look at you all as saviors, problem solvers, and that their life cannot move forward
Exactly.
unless they talk to you. And then sometimes you put in that situation where you're not necessarily have to terminate the help, but sever that connection that you may have, because it may be a dependency factor, right?
Right.
One thing that Paulette and I both do is we go in automatically telling you what you can do. We tell you what the end road is going to be.
Okay.
We don't make you codependent upon us. We automatically say, this is where we see you going. This is how you're going to get there. We're going to walk you through, but at some point we're going to let you go.
Got you.
Because we don't want to make them feel as if they're codependent upon you.
Okay. When you two were growing up, did people come to you and talk about their problems with y'all all the time?
Oh yes, me all the time. Even
Describe
now,
describe how that was as a child.
As a child, I'm like, I don't know I don't know about marriage problems. I'm only 8. I don't know what you should do. But I mean, I think oftentimes people have the answer. They just need somebody to listen to them and not judge them. Okay. That's a lot of the problems. People feel judged and they feel criticized.
Okay.
Just listen.
And what did your teachers see in you? What did you think that they picked up on when they said, hey, I think you should do this? Did you think you were in a situation where you just kind of explore your options and your talents, and they just picked up on it and something that you might not have picked on? Or what do you think it was? What did they see in you?
I really don't know. That's a very good question. I don't know what they saw in me.
Okay.
I know that they would always pull me out in class to be a leader.
Okay.
So I guess, it would be, I would assume it would be some of my leadership abilities. Okay. But other than that, I really don't know. I was easy to talk to as well. So they would sit down and talk to me. And one of my professors actually came to me and asked me, do you think I did the right thing?
Really?
Yeah. Do you think it was a dispute in the classroom? And he got outraged at one of the students. So I worked.
Yeah, he was about to get sued. That's right. Okay.
He got outraged at one of the students. So he came to me and asked me, did I do the right thing?
Right.
At that particular moment. And, I was like, well, you must did. Everybody was quiet. Nobody ever done that again.
Sure.
So you did the right thing. But I really don't know exactly what they saw in me.
Okay.
I'm just grateful that they saw something to propel me to the next level.
Definitely.
I would say, as her friend, because we've been friends for a very long time, that she is not afraid to talk about the things that are hard to talk about.
I got you.
And she can often see things that other people cannot see. Like you'll come in and you'll be smiling, and she'll look at you and say, what's going on? Now, everyone else will think it's a smile, but she'll see beyond that smile.
Okay.
And so that is one thing I admire a lot about her.
Okay.
Well, thank you, friend.
That's beautiful.
You're welcome.
See, I like that support. See, that's off the chain.
Yeah, that's my dog.
So basically, your professor may have seen something in you that you may see in some of your clients that they may not see in themselves. Not necessarily an issue, but sometimes a strength. You may have a client that may be strong in something, but they just think they're the weakest thing ever. But based off your conversation you had with them, you're like, no, based off what you just told me, you're strong as an ox. Have you ever had that situation?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have. I was just trying to recall, some of the situations I've had several of those situations where they didn't see the best part of them, and I actually had to shine some light on, what were some of your strong characteristics and what you can be doing with these characteristics to make you a better person.
Okay.
Several times, especially with high school students.
Wow. Yeah. Let's get into that. The youth.
Oh my.
How is that?
Oh.
How is that?
Well, I'm going to put it this way. Some days it's good and some days it's not, because they're forever changing.
Right.
They
all of the time.
Whatever you was pouring
changing.
yesterday, it means absolutely nothing.
And
today.
whatever the fad is, that's what they're going with. That's what, the in crowd, that's who they want to be with.
And social media plays a huge part.
We're going to get into that too.
In depression and, a lot of mental health issues with children. And so that's why I'm not a big advocate for children being on social media a whole lot, because they're not outside, they're not in sunlight getting the vitamin D, they're inside comparing themselves to somebody with butt injections, and thinking that's what every man want, when that's not realistic.
It really ain't.
It's really not. No,
It
I don't
really
think
ain't.
it is either.
Because it's not soft.
Quite hilarious.
It don't look soft.
Yeah,
It don't look soft.
No.
It looks weird, but
I'm just speaking for the men I know. We want to be soft.
Yeah, man. Yeah. It could be. It should
But
be.
that is what young girls are comparing themselves. No, I totally agree. But that is what young girls are comparing themselves to, and it changes day by day. One day you want to have natural hair, the next day you want to have long hair, one day you want to have light skin, next day you want to have dark skin. So you're going back and forth, and you constantly beginning to hate yourself, and that can start a process of self-loathing, which is repeatedly hating yourself, having thoughts of, I hate myself, I don't like myself, look at her, she's prettier than me, he doesn't like me, he didn't call me. And so we hide behind text messages and inbox messages, and we're never ever who we're supposed to be.
I want to revisit what you just said. I want to stay where you at, but I want to revisit.
Go ahead.
When you said vitamin D, the lack of sunlight and vitamin D, and what does that do to the brain, to the emotions, all of that. Can y'all speak on that, please?
Well, vitamin D is a natural. Well, you get vitamin D, a natural source of vitamin D from the sunlight.
Right.
And when you get that, it boosts your serotonin levels.
Okay.
Your serotonin levels are responsible for making you feel happy, and jubilant, and excited about things.
Right.
So when you don't get proper vitamin D and a natural source of vitamin D, so those serotonin levels tend to go down.
Right.
So instead of feeling naturally happy, you're not getting any sunlight, so you're sad.
Right.
That's
And sometimes you don't even know why you're sad.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I don't know why I'm sad. I'm just sad.
Right.
That's why grandma said, "Bust up and go outside."
Yeah.
And that helped. And when you went outside, you didn't just sit there. You were out running and playing.
And that goes along with exercise.
Right.
Exercise helps your brain serotonin levels as well, and endorphins.
Because the blood flow.
The blood flow.
So does Papa.
What? Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Popeyes. I had some Popeyes today.
Well,
2 piece. They have a 2 piece, $4.99.
well, we're going to go on a break now. I'll be right back. No, but no, I'm glad that you all said that, because I've had a conversation with someone that says it's different from having sunlight and the rays from the sun. You literally need to let the sun rays kiss your skin.
Yes, you do.
It's more than just being in the house and opening your window. Now,
Yeah.
the light may come up and make you say, "Oh, it's bright outside." However, the vitamin D levels and the serotonin you were talking about, the sun rays need to hit your
Yes, they
skin.
do.
Directly, yes.
Right.
And kids today, they don't want to go outside
At all.
I don't know what it is about a video game.
Unless they can
love
put a
video
selfie.
game. Yeah.
You know, if it's selfie time, they
Oh,
going
hit that
outside for the
sunlight,
perfect
right?
light. Yeah. It's selfie time. But the video games, right? You said something about the video games?
I see that with males. They will stay inside all day long and play a video game, so they're not getting that natural vitamin D source from the sunlight. So
Wow.
Well, I must ask, as a young black youth myself, sometimes those same males stay inside because outside is always deemed as a threat. Like, hey, you know them boys getting killed, or you know the police locking them up.
That is true.
So it's like, what are they supposed to do? Go outside and become a target, or stay inside and fuel something where they can go and have an adventure, but be safe? You know, I would like for y'all's perspective on that as well.
well, my perspective is you only need 10 minutes of it. It's not like you got to be out there for hours to get the natural source of vitamin D that you need. You only need 10 minutes of it.
Wow.
And if you're in an endangered environment, go out in 10 minutes, you're back in the house.
Right.
But if you can get that every day, hey, it's a start. It's a start until, you can get out of the environment that you're in. And if you never get out of the environment, at least you're getting 10 minutes. You got to start somewhere.
Gamers, 10 minutes.
And my thing is, and I tell males this all of the times because that's usually who I'm dealing with.
Right.
I don't know why, but I am.
Well, I know why.
I tell them.
It's rough.
I tell
Yes,
them
it
when
is.
you really want something, you'll go after it and you're gonna make a way to make it happen.
Right.
That's true.
And you have to get involved, like especially children in middle school and high school. Parents often give them the option. Well, what do you want to do? And what do you the whole? They have the option to say no.
Right.
Sometimes you have to say no. You're going to go outside.
You gotta
Oh
go.
no, we're going to go to the park. Even if we have to go to the park across the city, we're going to the park.
Yep.
Or you're going to play basketball after school. You're going to do something. Take away the option and do what's best for them. You're going to train your child how to be a healthy grown up.
Right.
And so it starts at home.
So some of the sessions that you all have with the youth, especially with a lot of trauma that our society has been exposed to in the last couple of years, what are they saying about that? Because I know they are seeing videos with Philando Castile. I know they're seeing videos of Michael Brown and all of those different things popping up. Have they talked about this? Are they vocal about it? Or is this do you see it even affecting them? How I mean,
Yeah,
what's your
it
response to
was
that?
one of my clients in particular, and he was one of the clients that I kind of gravitated towards. He just took on this mentality of F the police.
Okay.
He hated all of them.
Right.
And so it created, he started hating them, but he started hating other people too. So it created another source
hate
of
never stops
hate.
where it is. It always spreads.
So I saw that with him, and we tried to work through that hate, but he couldn't get over hating the police, or they're doing this or they're doing that, and they were,
Right.
they were doing it,
Right.
but you can't hate.
Right.
I don't preach or I don't teach hate. You can't hate.
What's the
I,
definition of hate for people? Because I know words. We try to define words on this show because we it's a lot of things that get thrown around, and people have different meanings of words. So how do you define hate?
my definition of hate would be an intense dislike that would lead to some sort of bodily harm.
So an intense feeling leading to an action.
Yes.
Yes.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
All right.
For me, with cases like that, a lot of my clients lose hope. Why should I go to college? It's not going to help. Or why should I apply for a job? It's not going to help. So once a person has lost hope, it's really hard to get that back.
That's real.
Because they're looking at TV, they're listening to the radio, they're looking at their skin color, they're looking at their gender, and it's like, why even do all of this?
Right.
My name on my resume already gonna close the door.
Man.
So
Wow, yeah.
that's a lot of what I face of loss of hope in a lot of people, actually, not just youth.
I see it across the board. I'm seeing, and I don't diagnose, but I know what I'm looking at, right?
Yeah.
And I don't tell people what they're dealing with, but I just know it's something that is eating people alive.
Oh, yeah.
I'm seeing just across the board a lot of confusion. I think a lot of people just don't know what direction we're going in. all the way up into the elders, all the way up to the children that's running around trying to figure out which elder to trust. Because if the people you're looking up to are confused and hurt and sad and they don't love themselves, your internal hope is going to be just as high as the people you got to look at on a daily basis. So let me ask you this: the role of the parents of your clients, how does that affect the growth process in the children that you see?
When you have a solid foundation, you usually create solid children.
Yes, you
Okay.
do.
But when your foundation, and I'm talking about, parents being involved, when your foundation is shaky, you create shaky children.
Yes, and shaky
Say it again.
grown-ups.
Like
And
straight
so-
up.
Yes, you do. You do.
If the parents don't have their stuff together,
Right.
you can't expect the children to.
Right.
And what I see a lot of times, or now, I see the children raising the parents, and
That
it
is
should be
true.
the parents raising the kids.
That
and
is true.
They want to be friends.
right? And the parents are out, partying and having fun instead of raising the child.
Or worse, they're competing
Yeah.
with the child.
Yes.
I've seen that.
Yes.
I didn't do this when I was young. You ain't gonna do it either.
Yeah.
I've seen that, and I've seen how it can crush a small
That's
person.
instilling fear into them early. And so when you start fear that early, it only grows.
Wow.
So then now, if you think, well, my mom and daddy didn't do it, how am I going to do it? And then everything's going to look like those first scenarios. So don't put fear in your children.
Wow.
Tell them you can do it, and this is how you're going to do it, and you're going to do it because I'm walking with you, and we're going to get there. Like, you got to constantly teach them how to talk to themselves.
Correct.
Because you have to remember, that is your baby. That's not the world's baby.
Right.
How do you help the child when they're raising those parents? And I understand the stress behind that. How can you tell the child or help the child look at what their parents may be doing? What if the parent is hurting them, but they don't really know the words to describe what's going on? So the frustration is just going on. I guess what I'm trying to ask you, what's your boundaries when you know there's a specific problem and you know the root of that may be coming from the parent and the child doesn't see it yet? How do you navigate that conversation?
Questions.
Questions? Okay.
Questions. Just knowing what questions to ask to, get the right response.
Gotcha.
So just, observing, watching them, listening to them. Listening is a huge factor.
Right.
And when you listen, ask the right questions.
Got you.
And it all comes out.
Wow.
And children want boundaries. They want to be told
They
no.
need
People need boundaries.
That's real. That's real. And in your opinion, we don't necessarily assume that everybody thinks it's the same way. When you in a household, the parents, is there a specific parent that's more expected more to have boundaries or to set those boundaries, or both parents need to be able to set those boundaries?
Both parents need to be able to set boundaries.
And the reason why I ask is because a lot of people say, well, the father's not in the household. That's the reason why this child may not have boundaries or this, that, and the other. But the reason why a lot of people may say it doesn't matter which parent is supposed to do it. A lot of households don't have the father in the household, but that doesn't mean they don't have boundaries or that any parent is supposed to step up. Because you got mom, you got older sisters, older brothers, you got big mom and them. You know what I'm saying? Everybody can give you a boundary. It may seem different from a man in the household. The boundaries from the manhood inside of your home. So let me ask you this. The students or the people that you encountered who may not have that father figure, do you see something specific that they may be dealing with? Not necessarily worse or better, but is there something specific that you see when you see children with no father in the home? If so, what is it?
I've seen a lack of identity, and that doesn't mean that the mom can't give it. She just did not give it in the situations that I've seen.
Okay.
So sometimes, like, a man will say, this is what you do, this is how you do it, this is how the men in our family do it.
Right.
A sense of identity. And I know a lot of men have to know, where am I coming from? Why am I doing it? Where are we going?
Right.
You have to have something
Sense of direction.
solid. You have to have a sense of direction.
Right. All right. I asked that because I know sometimes when we discuss manhood a lot on this show, and the definitions and the meanings of manhood evolve depending on what's going on, right? And some of the things that we talk about, and Dale can chime in too, because when we start talking about manhood, we talk about societal expectations. Then we talk about family expectations. Then we talk about romantic expectations.
That's
then we
a good one.
and we're going to get into that too.
That's a good one.
So we noticed that there are a lot of conversations that start off saying you're not a real man, and then fill in the blank whatever somebody wants you to do. Right? And so that's what we've heard. But we want to know that manhood. What is confusing about manhood right now in your eyes? What have you seen that's confusing about manhood?
Lord.
We're gonna be here all night. So, what's confusing? Because we define it on a broad scale, and based off who you're talking to, people have their specific meaning or definition. So when it comes to manhood and the confusion of manhood, you go for it. You want to? We can come back to it if you like.
Let's come back to it.
Well, I can let you know why I asked that, because you talked about the identity issue of the young men, right? And so, or just some of the children, period, right?
Yes.
So now, if a child does not know where they should go, and don't get me wrong, a young man loves his mother. Mother can supply all the discipline, all of the teachings and everything that she can do, but she does not have that experience of being a man in society, right? Yeah. And it's not her responsibility of teaching someone how to be a man. You know what I mean? And that's just my opinion of it.
I can agree.
That's just my opinion. It's not her responsibility. Now, she can do her best, the best she can do, and she can do a phenomenal job and still send out a balanced child in the society, right? Mm-hmm. But as far as her responsibility, her teaching a young man how to be a man, I just don't see how that is her responsibility, right? So if you have someone who's struggling with that definition of manhood and you come from a single parent household, what advice would you give to that young man who's saying, look, I'm in a house full of women, I got sisters, I got aunties, and I got mama, I'm the only dude in the house, and everybody's telling me what a man is supposed to be, but I don't see no man, not inside of here. So that's the type of confusion I'm talking about. Like, you're hearing all these expectations, but you don't see an example. So if you could talk to that young man who may be going through that, what would you tell him?
My advice to that young man would be, first, you may not have any men in your household, but there are men in your community.
There we go.
Find a man that you can trust, because all men in your community you can't trust.
Absolutely not.
Find a man in your community that you can trust and mimic him. If he's doing phenomenal things in his community, mm-hmm. If he's within his household and he's been a great father, that's something that you can mimic. That's something that you can, pattern your life after. So I would recommend, or I would tell that young man, find someone in your community. If you have someone in your family, outside of your immediate family, mm-hmm. an uncle, mm-hmm. find an uncle. There are men out here who are willing to help you. So reach out. You have to do your part first. Right. And you can't keep blaming, well, mom's not doing this and mom's not doing that.
That's really
it's a certain point in life when you're going to have to grow up and take responsibility for your own life. Yeah. So get up, keep moving, and find someone that can help you. Another male. So that would be my advice to that young male, whoever he is.
Got you.
I would tell him that.
Got you.
I just want to go back a little bit about how we really don't have many examples.
Okay.
I mean, look at the men that we have on TV, and you have them calling women out their names, and mm-hmm. you got women doing whatever it takes to, I guess, quote unquote, try to keep a man, and then you follow that.
And keeping a specific man too.
A certain kind of man or a boy mm-hmm. for that. So then in one phase we have, okay, if you're a man, if you got baggy jeans on, now you got men wearing skinny jeans. It's like, okay, what? Those don't make you a man. So we don't
I've seen somebody try to run in those.
Yes, you don't get far.
Yeah.
You don't get far. So we don't have great examples. And then you have so many men that are getting locked up. And at one point we were working at a detention center. Okay. And so we asked the boys to dig a hole. Mm-hmm. They did not know how to dig a hole. So basic things that, not saying those things make you a man, but those are certain things that when you think about a man, you think about strength, you think about survival, you think about knowing how to protect and to lead. Right. And these are things that men are not, or even boys are not taught. Mm-hmm. But there's no one there to teach them.
Correct.
There's no one there to teach them. You have men that have had fathers in homes, mm-hmm. and they may have turned to alcohol, may have turned to drugs. So that's all they remember seeing is, well, my daddy was alcoholic and he was never at home. So you have another young man trying to figure their way. So
the images of manhood in the media. Yeah, I mentioned that, right? You're talking about TV, movies. What type of image are you seeing portrayed, and what type of, I guess, imprint is that going to have on a young mind for young men and women? Because I think a lot of us are being taught to disrespect or have a lack of respect for black manhood across the board. So the images, what kind of images have you all seen that are being portrayed of black men that's kind of confusing our youth?
I'm going to say when I do trauma assessments, one of the main questions that I ask when I do a trauma assessment is, what is it that you aspire to be?
Okay.
they don't know.
And the main thing that they will say, I want to be a professional basketball player.
There you go.
I want to be a professional football player.
Right.
Or a rapper.
Because this is what is getting all of the public attention.
Right.
This is what they see who's making all of the money. They never aspire to be a doctor or a lawyer. I can't say never, but a lot of them never aspire to be a doctor or a lawyer or a counselor. They don't aspire to be that because what they see is, a rapper. He's making a lot of money. He sold this many records, so if he can do it, I know I can. Or a football player, and I'm not just weaning those options out.
Right.
But there are other things that what happens if you break your leg?
Right.
You're playing and you break your leg.
Right.
What are you gonna do? So I think those are some of the images that they see and that they aspire to be like. And it's just hard to get that out of their minds when they have it set there.
One thing I realize is that those images are shown to have a lot of respect and love.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, one of the main things, not the only thing, because I wanted to play football because I liked the contact and I could fight without getting in trouble. But I did see, and I noticed as a young man, and I can definitely admit this because it was like this for a lot of us, we saw football players get attention from girls. And how girls flock to football players. And we were like, all right, football equals girls. We need to go try for the football team. You know what I mean? And so, and a lot of things, all right, you see a rapper, you see him, and you see a whole bunch of girls. So now you're like, all right, I need to rap for the girls. You know what I mean? So I see the equation of whatever gets me the respect or the love and attention, whatever that is. And I see the media, and one thing I try to do is be careful when I say the media. And I try to be specific of who I'm talking about, right? The media is like a blanket statement. We don't know who the media is, but we like to tell them that that's what they're trying to tell us, right? However, I've noticed that I've really tried to be responsible for what images that I continue to look at. Because no matter what they choose to show us, we got remotes.
Yeah, that's
you know
right.
What I mean?
That's right.
And it's something internal in us that is kind of not only accepting it, but supporting this image some kind of way. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not a hypocrite. Sometimes I like looking at, football games, rap videos, all of these different things. I go to the movies. I see action movies. I see how people get treated. All of this stuff, right? However, I have come to a certain spot in my life where I can maturely look at the images and say, you know what? I think that kind of try to break my self-esteem a little bit. So I said, let me be careful looking at this type of stuff. However, the people that you counsel may not be as mature to find out all these images that can send subliminal messages.
They're not.
So how, as someone who's trying to be mature in these images, how would you coach them in trying to dissect what they're looking at?
It's according to where they're trying to go.
Okay.
I've got to know, what is it that you're trying to do? And if you're trying to do a certain thing, there are certain images that should be placed before you. So I would like you to be a little more specific and give me an example as to, where this young man is trying to go, so I can tell you what type of images, that I would, direct him into watching.
Right.
So it just pretty much to me depends on what they're trying to do in life, because I believe in actual vision and I believe in the mind's eye too.
Okay.
It takes your actual vision sometimes to get things in your mind's eye. So
do you mind repeating that, please?
Okay.
That was, I think, just in case they were listening, like, oh, hold on, what you say? Please say that one more time.
Well, what I was saying is sometimes it takes your actual vision to get something into your mind's eye, your mental eye.
That's definitely, we're definitely on one accord with that. I was just thinking about, what are you feeding your mind?
Yep.
Right. So if, just say this young man, he wants to be a doctor, and all he's watching is football,
Right.
football. There's no way he's going to be a doctor, because
What they see is
he's
what they'll
feeding
be.
his mind football. So if he comes in to my office and he tells me, Miss Chavers, I want to be a doctor, but all I watch is football, my first thing is, well, maybe tonight, instead of watching 2 hours of football, maybe you should watch this channel. They're going to teach you all about, becoming a doctor. You don't even have to watch it for 30 minutes. Watch it 10 minutes.
Right.
So I'm trying to restructure his mind so
Right.
that I can get him to the place that he wants to go.
Right.
So it actually starts with your actual sight,
Right.
seeing where you want to be.
The vision.
The vision of it.
And a lot of people may not understand that word vision. Some people are not even told to have one. They are discouraged from the vision that they do have. Have you, I guess, reminisce for me a little bit and kind of rewind it in your guess either your youth or your younger adulthood, when you tried to tell someone a vision or a dream, did you get any negative reinforcement or negative reactions with that? And
Yeah.
if so, what was that like, and tell us, how did you combat it?
Well, at one point when I told my mom that I wanted to be a counselor, she said, "Oh, girl, you just want to be nosy." So at that, which
That's
I kind of did want to be nosy.
That's deep.
Because the information was so good, but I honestly really do care about people.
Right.
So it kind of changed me to say, well, maybe I should be a teacher.
Right.
And so what I would tell parents is, definitely when kids tell you something, don't tell them why they can't do it.
Right.
Tell them why they can do it, and give them a plan A, B, and C. You have to give vision, so that when they go off to college or when they go off to different places, they may see different stuff, but they're going to go right back to what you said when they were 5 years old.
That is true.
10 years old. That was what's going to take root.
I had a very supportive family. So although I changed my major so many times, they were there supporting me. They would never degrade me, as far as what I wanted to do in life. Sometimes they would say, well, maybe you should try this. They would give me, certain incentives to move forward. But I had very supportive people. And I'm very grateful for my mom and especially my older siblings, because they did a lot of sacrificing for me to be where I am today.
Right.
So I'm very appreciative of them making sacrifices for me.
Right.
Yeah.
So they were very supportive. I had a very supportive family.
That's great. That's great.
What I would say, adding to that vision, have a great support group, because
Right.
even if your parents don't know to give you vision, or they can take you but so far, your support group can keep adding to that vision, because sometimes they see in you what you don't see in yourself.
That is true.
And a lot of times black men, they are hanging around, and this is not stats or anything, I'm just saying through observation, around guys that are doing the same thing they're doing. So if every weekend we go into the club, that's all we doing every weekend. They have really very few people that's going to challenge them and say, hey, let's go to this conference and learn more about public speaking or something. Have people in your circle that's going to say, hey, we're going to do better this time next year. We're going to look different, talk different, be different.
Correct. And that's one of the main things that we try to talk about. Sometimes that we get some of the most, I would say, negative reinforcement from the people we look up to. And it's one thing about seeing something in the world that discourages us.
Yes.
But it's one thing when our world discourages us. It can really give that final blow, Say, for instance, if you were raised by a big mama or something like that, grandmother, that was the only rock you had, and you wanted to do something, and grandmama may not have been exposed to that, and she calls your dream the devil.
Oh, yeah.
Have you seen that?
Oh, black folks don't do that.
Tell us what would that. What would
black
that
people
do?
don't go to counseling.
Now,
They
can
go
we
to
please
church.
You don't need no counseling. Counseling is for
You
crazy
gotta
people.
expound on that, please?
And that's is such a taboo. That's is a stereotype, and it's not true. But in most black families, or a lot of black families, they think counseling is for people who are crazy, and that's not it. That is not it at all.
Wow.
I've even heard, my mom once say, nope, I ain't going to no counseling. No, I'm not going to do that. But it was at a very trivial time in her life that she really needed it. She actually needed to go to counseling. So I have heard, don't go see a counselor. Because if you go see a counselor, everybody's going to think you're crazy. And that's not true. It's not true at all.
I think for the both of us, we took counseling to the church. I'm currently a pastor's wife, and so that, I don't know how people are familiar with pastor wives' roles, but they're supposed to sit there and have their big hats on and don't say much. But I am completely opposite of that, because I know once you done spit, roll, ran around the church, laid, spoken tongues, did all that stuff, you're gonna still go home depressed because you never dealt with the issue.
Right.
And so that is my approach with church. Deal with the issue, be real with God, and He will definitely be real with you.
What do people not understand about God?
Let me see. I'll speak for myself. When I did not understand God, I would say that I felt like I was too far for Him to bless me. It was like almost like He was a God that was up there and I'm down here, and I did so much stuff that made me, I guess, for lack of a better term, unblessable. I made that word up. Did I make that word up? Made it up.
People
Not worthy of a blessing.
Not
People
worthy
think
of
it
a
though.
blessing.
People
Right.
think it all the time.
Sometimes I think people don't think God will forgive them for certain things that they
Yes.
have done. Like, if I've slept with this man's wife, God's not going to forgive me for that. That's just too big for Him to do.
Right.
No, yes, He will. He will forgive you from that. And if you've done it, stop and get up and try something new.
Right.
And keep moving forward. So I think that people put certain emphasis on certain sins and think that God won't forgive them for certain things.
I think that's what I witnessed and also partook in sometimes too. My misunderstanding of what God is, who He is, what He's capable of, and whatever box I created for Him to fit in. How did that work out for me? And what I really wanted to do in my life, I kind of use it as a crutch. And so right now, I know I've grown a little bit better by saying I may not understand everything. So let me not jump to conclusions about who's angry. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's good.
It's getting to the point now. Some people don't even say blessed and highly favored anymore because they really just don't know. So
I am not.
I know. Like honestly, and sometimes people think I'm
real
playing,
funny.
but I'm practicing not speaking for God. I'm just practicing that for my own health. You know what I'm saying? My own mental growth, because sometimes that might not have been what he was saying. That might have been my ego, or that might have been my own little hopes and dreams that I was going and saying, God told me to do that. But it's amazing that God tells us a whole bunch of stuff we already wanted to do.
Right.
You know what I would say is sometime I've seen where hurt can go so deep until you really don't believe God. It's like almost, if there is a God, why would He let this happen
Correct.
to me? Why would He let this? So I will admit that at some point in my life, I have been there. Why pray? He gonna do what He want to do anyway. But it's almost like when you humble yourself, you say, okay, God, I got this happened, this hurt, help me. That's the raw with God. He will meet your need.
Right.
And so as far as me, that's where I feel like He met me, with being raw with God. And sometimes you think, well, if I just go to church, it'll get better. God made us counselors to help you walk through it, because sometimes you can't get through it in a Sunday service.
Yeah.
Okay.
You need to talk it out.
Okay.
And talk it out over and over again until
Right.
you get it over, and then talk about, okay, what are we going to do now?
That's what a lot of people may not understand about negative images, because if we get negative images and negative sayings, negative lyrics, all that negativity on a daily basis, and we think that one day in church gonna solve a whole week worth of negativity, we got another thing coming. You know what I mean? I think. What do you think? And we already kind of went in this direction, but spiritual laziness. Have you seen it? If so, what does that look like? What does it look like when someone is spiritually lazy, in your opinion?
You don't want to do your part. You just
Right.
want it to happen.
Or you
Okay.
just want God to do everything.
Okay.
Just say, for instance, that you want to lose weight, and you go and you pray to
We
God.
can change the subject. We ain't got to do that. We ain't got to do that.
You go and pray
The
to God.
NFL is boycotting. The NFL is boycotting right now. They taking knees all over the place. We ain't even got to go there. Go ahead. I'm playing with
You go and you pray to God, Lord, please help me to lose weight. But you don't ever want to go to the gym. Or you want to keep going to Popeyes and getting the $5 box.
Why we gotta do that?
Keep going to Popeyes getting the $5 box. And when you don't lose weight, when you don't lose weight, you blame that on God. That's what I call spiritual laziness. You're not doing your part. He's only going to do so much.
Oh, you want to get married. You want to get married, but you don't go nowhere. And then when you do go, you look in a hot mess. Hot mess.
You got to do your part.
Or when somebody approach you acting like you don't want to talk to them and not making eye contact and acting rude, you're not doing your part.
Or you want him to talk to you, but you never pick up the Bible to read it. So tell me how God is going to talk to you and you don't ever pick up the Bible. Spiritual laziness.
Wow. Y'all are getting to a point of discomfort, which is good, because most time, pain is a gain. You know what I mean? And a lot of us who swore we knew God, and I'm one of them, trust me, because I'm trying to get out of that. That's what he meant. I just need to go try to figure it out. And sometimes what I'm looking at now is our personal relationship with God is our business. Whatever God told me, it's not necessarily for me to go out there and convince you that it was,
God had told you.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand you.
And I think that's what I'm trying to mature into, because sometimes our conversations are very personal. Like to the point where if I go out and try to tell some people, it's gonna sound like I'm lying. So I might want to just keep this stuff,
Well, that's what you call faith.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Faith
will put you out there.
It will cause you to show up. A friend of ours always says you have to participate in your success. So you have to show up. You got to do your part. If you don't, you're gonna be in the same spot this time next year. You got to show up. You have to do your part.
Correct.
I personally feel like when it comes to faith is one of the most difficult things to obtain and to keep. So to me, that's why I feel like it impresses him. So for something to happen that there's no logic behind it, you don't deserve it, there's no possible way it's just gonna fall in line, but you have to sit there and believe and trust him that you know what, this is gonna happen. Now that don't mean like, okay, well, I didn't study all night, I haven't even opened my book, I'm gonna get an A tomorrow. Nothing like that. But when you done sat there in the gutter and you done everything that you possibly can, like let's bring the test scenario back, you studied, you just don't understand the math whatsoever, and it's a multiple choice test. So you gotta get away, it's a multiple choice test, and you sitting there and you're like, Lord, look here, I've taken this course 3 or 4 different times, I don't have no more financial aid, I've done everything I could and I just can't seem to grasp this. I feel like those are those times when you put in that work and you put in that faith at the same time, he'll show up in a way you'll be like, I had no idea what that was. The last 4 problems I guessed on, but them last 4 problems that you guessed on, or you like, God, look,
you won't do it. You did that.
And then out of nowhere, you passed the test by 1 point. Everybody else like, you only did it by 1 point. You
it
like,
don't matter, but I did pass.
How I prayed for that
Thank
1
you,
point.
Lord.
You know what I'm saying?
Thank you, Lord, for the 1 point.
So that's what I feel. That's what I feel like faith is. Faith is waking up and continue to try every day when the world tells you you're not gonna win.
Yeah.
I was reading the William Lynch story a long time ago, and I always think about how they killed the strongest black male in the community, and they made everybody else watch.
Right.
And I always look at us as a people. Why do they try to make us feel as though we can't do it?
Of course.
You can't do it. You're not gonna be good enough, and it starts young.
Right.
It's still in fear. You know that when we put our mind to anything we can do, we are some of the most creative, talented, powerful men and women.
Right.
And it starts early. So drugs are dumped into our community. And guess what? We taking it. Right. Or they not giving us the best books in school, and we're not fighting. We're not showing up to the PTA meetings. Parents have to do their part. So you have to be involved. Wise up.
Right.
Wise up. Go to church. Be a part of something that's going to make you better.
And then
How do you help those people become resources for those people who need that interaction, but they're shunned because they don't know how to fight their own feelings?
Well, I would say you have to have those accountability meetings. So let's say Jerome is your homeboy. And you know, every time Jerome come around, he run all the girls away because he's so sad. We're going to have a meeting about how can we be better as people.
Right.
And in those meetings, we tell the exact, honest truth. This is the area we need to improve on. This is how you can improve on it, and we're going to help you to improve on that. That is what me and my friends do every single year, at the beginning of the year and at the end of the year. And if you can't help him, make a mission to say, okay, I know that I can't help you, but I know somebody who can. You can't go to Jerome with all that, okay, this is the problem. Go to him with the problem and give him a solution in that whole thing.
Okay.
And I would say too, if you are friends with Jerome, this figment,
I just had I like,
if you are friends with him, I would offer him, the support. Yeah, dude, I'm here for you. What's going on?
You seem
Why are you sad? Why are you sad all the time? Every time we get ready to have a party, you always crying. There's nobody here right now. Tell me what the problem is.
Right.
Let's talk to it, because at 6:00 people gonna be coming over, and we need to get over this.
Right.
So what's going on with you, man? He may not say what's actually happening with him right then, but you made some kind of contact with him.
Right.
Okay.
So the next time he'll open up and he won't cry so much at the party, and it's gonna take patience from the friend to deal with his depressed buddy.
That's true.
You're gonna need some patience to deal with him, but I would just kind of be supportive, and listen to him, and then hold him accountable.
Okay.
And know when to laugh about it, because we as a community, we tend to joke off everything. Ha ha ha, that's funny. Ha, and
That's how I got
sometimes
here.
that some stuff just not. Oh yeah, you do. That was no offense to you.
No. Joking. That was
Okay.
that was my safety mechanism.
Yeah, like we joke about everything, and some things you don't think is funny. Like,
Right.
okay, I'm over here crying because my heart broke, and y'all think it's funny because JoJo came to the party with another girl. That ain't funny because I love JoJo. You get what I'm saying? So you have to be honest about where you are. Then we can laugh about it. Once I done got over JoJo, we can laugh about it because I'm over it. But don't laugh at pain, because it makes
Right.
people hide pain,
Right.
and they deal with it in silence.
And you get to learn about triggers. You can
Right.
find out what's actually triggering this crying,
Right.
or the sadness.
Right.
And so if it's this girl coming to the party is what's making him cry, we know, okay, this time we're not going to invite her until he gets a little stronger. So just communicating with him, being a support system to him, so you can find out some of these triggers that are causing some of the depressed state or depressed mood. Not even, it can be anxiety.
Right.
I guess you just use depression. So that's
What
pretty much
about the
it.
people who doing the, like you were talking about earlier? You're talking about the people who walk around in the mask like everything's okay, and it could be because of their lack of support, of which we were just talking about. So if they're walking around because they don't have that kind of support group, and they're pretending that everything's okay, letting everything build up, what are some symptoms of people walking around with that mask on, and how do we pull a future? How do we do a mask off?
Hilarious.
Sometimes they are untouchable. They put themselves in an untouchable place, or they put themselves in a position where, oh, I never deal with that. I'm not going through this, or I'm not going through that, and it makes them feel good when they can say, I'm not dealing with this. No, you're not dealing with this, but you are dealing with this over here, which is causing the same type of, reactions or responses.
Right.
So I guess, one of the things to, that would identify them, is that what you're saying?
Yeah, and help them,
One of the things that would kind of identify them is if they're always pointing the finger at someone else and saying, oh, they're doing this or they're going through this, but they never focus on themselves. They never actually talk about what's internally in them or what they're experiencing. It's always what you have going on, because they don't want you to touch that issue, because it's very sensitive.
Deflect.
And they don't want anybody to know about this little incident. They cuddle it like a baby, and they don't want anybody to get close to that part of them.
Right.
So that's one major sign when all of the blame is on
everybody
you.
else. Wow.
I have a few things going through my head. I'm going to speak from the person who's dealing with it. You have to find someone that you feel like you can talk to, because somebody sees it. It's just sometimes they don't know how to approach it.
Right.
So say, hey, can I talk to you about something? Or just be honest. One thing about depression, oftentimes, it is always plays, and I'm saying this loosely, it'll make you feel like you're the victim. It's always, I'm sad, nobody understands me, me. When you open your mouth about what's going on with you, it'll make you realize you are not by yourself. You are not by yourself. So you have to be honest. I am sad. Right. And I need somebody to talk to.
Right.
Start there. And sometimes when they feel as if, I guess for lack of better words, that they're too good, or they're using this facade because they don't want you to, get to those, intimate parts. I always let them know that it's going to come out in some area of your life.
It always
Either
does.
it's going to seep out in your finances, it's going to seep out in your relationship. It's going to come out somewhere. Right. And sometimes they have a catharsis, meaning that they can't take it anymore and they just explode. It's going to come out. You can't carry around this facade forever, because it's going to seep out at some point in your life. So it's best to go ahead on and, talk with someone about it, speak with someone about it, so you don't have a catharsis. It just blows up on you.
Wow.
Because it's bound to happen.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Oh, well, when it comes to manhood, how does mental health contribute to success in manhood, in your opinion?
Let me put on my life jacket, about to drown.
We got to help people, man. We got to get this help.
Mental health is very vital. And I think in success, you have to know where your weakness is. And in order for you to be a successful person, you have to identify that point of weakness. And you have to actively work towards improving that area of your life. So if you are depressed, if that's a mental health issue that you are dealing with, you actually have to identify. You can't cover that up on anymore. You have to say it. Right now, I'm depressed. I'm trying to get over this so I can, move forward in my life. I can't be this grand CEO of this company talking to my employees when I'm dealing with this internal depression. I can't deal with the pressures of the company because I have this going on. So I would say that you have to say it. I'm depressed. You have to identify your weakness so you can become strong.
What's the difference between depressed and sadness? I'm sorry. You go ahead and respond to that. Then
I was going to say this, that I always talk to women, because women is my strong area.
Okay.
And I tell women that are in relationships with men that they feel he's sad or he just doesn't talk to me. When he does talk, listen. Sometimes we have all the answers, or we have the I told you should have did that, or I told you, and we talk so much until that he took all week to open up.
Let me grab this collection plate. Excuse me for a second.
Go on and get it. But he took so long to open up, and then when he opens up, you shut him down. Or when you listen to him, and then a couple of weeks later in an argument, you throw it back up in his face.
Oh my God.
You cannot do that. My husband taught me that. You cannot do that to your man. Listen to him. Wait for him to talk to you, and don't rush the process, and don't go tell your friends.
Please don't.
Keep his heart and his secrets safe with you, because sometimes you're going to be his only outlet. If he's talking to you, he's making that choice to talk to you,
right?
And he's very intentional about that. So when he does that, listen and close your mouth. He don't need to hear, well, I told you that a week ago. Who cares? Who cares?
I'm glad that you went that direction, because that's where we were going. And I'm going to ask you a question that I'm not looking for an answer, but I am looking for a response. Do women know how to treat men?
Women do.
Girls don't.
No,
Women
exactly.
do. Girls don't. Can you tell us the difference?
I think a woman is very mature in her mental health.
And give us some examples of what that looks like.
She knows how it feels to if she knows what it looks like when she's degrading someone, or she knows how that feels, so she won't put that off on someone else. She knows how it feels when someone is struggling, so she won't beat him down because she's struggling, because she knows how that feels and how that looks. She knows how it feels and what it means when you uplift someone, when you encourage them and tell them you can do it,
right?
You can make it. I know you didn't have a good day on your job today, but tomorrow is a different day.
Right.
You can get up and move forward. She knows how to properly encourage. She knows how to properly instill certain characteristics within that man if he doesn't already have them.
Okay.
She knows how to build those things up within him. A girl, she doesn't know how to do that.
She trying to impress
tears
her
down
friends.
all the
Okay.
time. It's all about an appearance. It's never about building.
Wow.
What they gonna think about me if this happened?
Yeah.
What they gonna think of me? You making us look bad? My girls, my girls, my
Oh,
girls.
wow.
But it's not ever about you two.
Wow. So girls compete with other.
Oh yes.
Okay,
Yeah, all the
but
time.
women don't compete.
Well, they're confident within themselves. They don't
Okay.
have to.
Women are confident. Girls compete. Is that kind of safe to say?
It's safe to say.
All right. As a response, not an answer, but women, contribute and girls compete.
And women don't have time for competition.
Because
They
they're too
don't have
busy
time
building
for
their
that.
home.
Yeah.
Right.
So if you competing, then something is lacking
Wow.
internally within you.
Yeah.
Something is lacking with your own mental health. So a strong woman, and I don't want men to be afraid when we say a strong woman.
Right.
That's something very beneficial to a man when you
That's
have a
amazing. We need
strong,
somebody
when you
with
have a
help with
strong
this
woman,
couch.
That's very beneficial.
Grab the other end of that couch. I want a strong woman. We got to get this up the steps.
Right. A strong woman,
I'm just
she
playing.
doesn't have time for
Because I'm
games.
up there with the lemonade. Say, hey, I got your lemonade ready.
So you want a strong woman. They
We
want to
get
be a
up
strong
that
woman
sofa.
until it's time to lift that furniture.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, you said you were strong, baby. Let's go ahead.
I
and
said
get this.
mentally strong.
You.
You got this solid oak arm wall.
Nope.
You thought you wouldn't have to carry it.
Yeah, put on
call
this yellow
JoJo.
jacket so I can see you. At
Better
night.
call Jerome with his sad self.
Exactly.
We can hire someone.
So, but the mental, but honestly too,
You don't have to pick it up. We can hire someone.
the reason why the reason why we ask that is because we do see how, and I don't use social media as a avenue to explain what's going on. I do understand that's an isolated thing. However, social media does uncover a lot of people's mindsets and their thought processes sometimes, but it's not true for everybody. However, the things that we have seen, a lot of people have noticed a disdain between men and women, especially when it comes to social media. And some people have witnessed this, and some people have just pointed it out and say, man, it looks like we're just kind of angry at each other. It's like we're kind of fed up, but we can't let each other go, but we can't stand each other at the same time. Yeah, it's almost like an internal fighting between a lot of people who are still trying to figure it out and blaming the other person because they haven't figured it out yet. So that maturity level, and you mentioned that the difference between a woman and a girl, the difference between a man and a boy. Are the women dating boys and are the men dating girls? Is the reason why a lot of people are having issues? Is it something about the men and the women who think they need to date boys and girls? That was meant to be difficult.
It was.
I know. I'm pondering upon that question.
You know, I don't know if I'm answering the question, but I would say sometimes you do start off as boys and girls.
Right.
But we're so easy to give up until we don't even see each other all the way through.
Right.
Like we'll say, well, this ain't working out. And we only been together 5 days.
Right.
You don't weather through anything, but I know that probably didn't answer your question, but
No. I'm looking for responses, not answers.
I do think that sometimes you have a boy who's with a woman and a man who's with the girl,
Right.
and you have that constant struggle.
Right.
Yeah.
The man who's with the girl is trying to build. He's
Right.
trying to go higher.
Right.
Where she's not trying to build, all she's doing is take away. So you
Right.
have that constant battle
Right.
there, which causes we can't ever get along.
Right.
We can't ever see eye to eye on anything because you have one who is maybe a girl and a man, or a boy and a woman. So you will constantly have a struggle when you don't have that equalness there.
Yeah. Some people call it equally yoked
Yeah.
type. Now, one thing that I've had a conversation about this, and sometimes people look for a companion out of somebody they can control, but they look for that person to also be an adult, but they want them to be controlled. That's the reason why some people have that fighting. You can't have everything that you want. You want that person to do what you say, but also be man enough to do something on their own. And it's kind of it's kind of confusing. Just like a man probably may want a woman to know her place, but then he also wants her to take the lead at the same time, and it's kind of confusing. So the reason why I asked those men and women who like boys and girls, but then argue that the boys and girls are boys and girls, it gets a little confusing. It looks like you hate what you love, and you want everybody to listen to you. That's what I've seen, and that's what other people have said.
And I just want to just kind of go back a little bit when we're talking about. It kind of makes me think. Okay, if you're a man and all you attracting in are girls, then we need to go back and look at you.
Right.
Maybe you're not a man.
Right.
If you keep attracting girls, it's something on the inside of you that keeps pulling to you.
Right.
Girls all of the time. You never attract a woman.
Right.
And you call yourself a man.
Right.
Then maybe you're not.
Yeah.
Wow.
Look at what
And the
you're
same thing with
attracting.
women.
Right.
You're saying that you're a woman. You look like one on the outside, but you continually to attract boys.
Right.
We need to go back. We need to do some analyzation here on ourselves as to why I keep attracting this type of person.
Right.
So
I think too, it may be helpful, and this actually helped me out because I had a lot of female friends, right? And we had like candid conversations because I write a lot of comedy, so I do a lot of relationship jokes or whatnot, and they used to tell me about their relationships all the time, and I used to laugh hard, right? Because some of this stuff used to be just downright hilarious, but it was a lot of the things that they complained about is what they looked for in a person. And I used to sit back and I said, I don't know if you noticed this, but the same stuff you say you don't like is the same thing that got you. So what am I supposed to do as a friend? Do you want me to just listen to it, or do you have an issue? Are you really upset, or do you enjoy the drama? What is it? Because I was kind of confused at the time. Same things with some of the guys who love to complain about their baby mothers, right? And I'm like, well, y'all still dating. Like y'all
still dating.
You just went to Six Flags. I'm sorry, I just came from Atlanta. However, my bad, dog. But this is one of those things where the people we love to complain about is the people we love to be with. And I don't know how healthy that is for, I guess, not only just the psyche, but the messages that we give out. And one of the main things that helped me with my conversation with my female friends, I just asked them, I said, as a man, I need to know what messages or type of signal I'm sending off. Right. And even especially people who you have no intentions of getting romantically involved with, they sometimes have a bigger incentive by keeping it real with you, especially if they don't have anything to lose, like a possible relationship. So I would suggest people who find somebody you're not romantically seeking out, and ask them, hey, when you look at me, what kind of vibe do I give off?
That's a good one.
When you see me, and what have you heard other females say about me? People really actually need to know that.
They do,
right?
They do. I
Because
agree.
you have no idea. Sometimes you may think you so fresh, so clean, and people just look at you like he's a bum. You know what I mean? But it's nothing. And ladies, have y'all seen the dude who thought he was the man?
Yes.
And he was, and everybody was laughing at him, but he was so confident, not because he had a healthy self-esteem, it's because he might have believed a lie a little bit. Or somebody might have lied to him. He took that lie from 6th grade, and now he's 27. You know what I mean? So how does that, I guess, that mixed match of energy, do you think it's socially responsible for people to ask platonic friends, what kind of energy do I give off? Or what do you see me? What would that do for people?
And that's why you have to have honest friends.
Right.
It will enlighten them.
Yes.
They'll know, okay, every time I come around, I'm sending off this type of vibe.
Right.
It will enlighten them so they can, change whatever it is on the inside of them that, is sending off this vibe. If you tell them as a friend, hey, this is what I'm feeling from you, they can go back and change that. And it actually empowers them.
Right.
It helps them to be better. So I would say, yes, you need friends.
The last thing for the night, what we try to do before we leave, we try to talk to that one young person that may be listening to the radio show. This is their first time listening in. They need some help. They probably are living in a toxic household. They love their parents, but they're terrified of not trying to embarrass their parents, or they want to make sure that they make their parents proud, but they don't want to, live for their dream because they know it'll cause a little havoc. We try to get as specific as possible. A young man who's searching for manhood right now. a young woman who's trying to figure out what womanhood looks like and what healthy manhood looks like, so she knows what to seek out in her later years. What do you say to that young person that's listening right now?
Whoever you are, I don't care what society has told you. I don't care what your family has told you that you can't be. But my voice right now is telling you that whatever you put your mind to do, you can do it. You can make it through any struggle that you're faced with today. You can do it. You can make it. The right people are being placed in the right place just for you at this moment in your life. Don't quit. Don't capitulate. Don't give up. Keep moving forward because you have the strength to make it.
Wow.
I would say feed your soul all day long, because sometimes you don't know what to think. You don't know what to feel. Put you on some happy music.
Yep.
Put on some inspirational music. Put on something that's going to make you feel motivated until you have enough will and enough mind to say, this is what I'm going to do. And get a plan and make it, check off your plan one thing at a time.
Right.
And don't believe the lies. And sometimes you lie to yourself.
Right.
This how it's always going to be. Nobody understands. All those self-defeating thoughts are all lies.
Right.
You can do it. It's a choice. And if you don't understand how to do it, seek help. I believe that's why you're listening now. And if you don't know how, reach out to us and we'll walk you through it step by step.
Contact information, social media, any way they can get in contact with you, see you, all of that good stuff, and then we'll close out.
Again, my name is Paulette Chavers. Chavers Paulette at yahoo.com. Or if you can't get me there, Paulette, Paulette.Chavers, CHAV as in Victor, ERS at yahoo.com.
And I am Ty Johnson. I'm located on Facebook as Ty Johnson. If you cannot reach me on Facebook, you can come by Kingdom Cuts Barbershop on
Pastor J.
63 East Main Street. And I can be there or be found there by my husband. Yeah.
Shout out to Pastor J, man.
Shout out. You heard that shout out.
Did Pastor J had a play?
Yes, he did.
Was it yesterday?
It was over the weekend.
Cool. How was it?
It was wonderful. He did an awesome job.
That's cool. I saw it on live. Hopefully it's still up. I'm trying to check it out. That's good stuff. All righty. Well, did you all enjoy the show today?
We did.
We did. Thank you for having us.
It's no problem. Thank y'all for your work you're doing in the community. Hopefully that some more people will take advantage of the services that you offer, and hopefully you giving them the courage to at least seek you out or seek out some help from somewhere. Thank you for your time and your patience and your contribution to the community. We appreciate you all, and hopefully we'll learn how to support you so we can keep getting the help we need from you all. There's no problem, man. So thank y'all so much for listening in. Well, this is Manhood Mindset, man. This is another successful show, and we're gonna take you out, man. You got anything to close out, big dog?
Yeah, to the person who's listening, every monumental task is filled with several, if not many, small ones. In order to keep going and to build that confidence in yourself, focus on the small ones in order to keep yourself going and keep striving. And you'll realize everything that people tell you can't do, step by step, you'll prove them wrong.
All right,
That's
refocus.
Real. That's real, man. And last but not least, make sure you love yourself, because if you don't love yourself, this world will teach you how to love it, and you don't want to wait till that happens. We love y'all very much. Thank you so much for tuning in for Manhood Mindset. Please reach out to us on social media. I'm Christopher Pugh on Facebook, Big Chris Joker, BIGCHRISJOQER on Twitter and Instagram. How can they reach you?
They can reach me anywhere. It's Executive Dale. That's just how it is.
That's what's up, man. So thank y'all so much. This is WVGS 91.9 The Buzz, Statesboro, GA. Thank y'all so much. This is Manhood Mindset. Big dog, take us out.
This has been another episode of Manhood Mindset on WVGS 91.9 The Buzz. It's better this way.
You already know.